Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the difference between being busy and actually making progress towards your long-term goals and objectives. Too many of us prioritize tasks that do not really matter. Stephen Covey's coverage in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People teaches that we have a built-in tendency to focus and drift towards tasks that are urgent but not necessarily important. This is where I see the term headless chicken coming from, where we continuously run around dealing with the next most urgent incident, email, phone call, without taking the time to really think about what we do next. If you keep letting incoming things just go straight to the top of your priority list, you won't be making that much needed progress towards your long-term goal and those tasks that really make a difference to your life. To use an analogy, time spent on urgent tasks can be like standing in a sinking boat scooping out the water, but never taking the time or thinking about addressing those holes in the bottom of the boat. It becomes a never-ending cycle. We all have to deal with urgent tasks sometimes, but if you spend too long focusing on urgent tasks, you're not going to be taking the time out to make sure that you're getting towards where you want to be for your future self. Stephen Covey outlines great ways in which we can think about the tasks we're doing and how important or how urgent they are to us. And this is in the form of an Eisenhower Matrix. It's all about the importance of how we manage our time to achieve more. We essentially spend our time doing two different types of activity: urgent and important. Urgent being as soon as it appears in front of us, we deal with it. And that could be something like phone calls, emails, studying for an exam that happens to be tomorrow, someone appearing at your desk when you're at work, those type of things. Or in the technology world, could be an operational alert that needs to be managed. Important meaning it is directly related to our long-term goals and it helps us get towards where we want to be. An example of something important: if you want to be a software developer, then investing time in coding and building applications is part of that journey. And that is part of the progress, therefore it is important. Stephen outlines 4 quadrants of time management in an Eisenhower Matrix. I'm going to take you through them and hope it helps you categorize the types of tasks and activities you do to make better decisions to get more out of your future. Quadrant 1 activities. This is the stress sector. These tasks are the things that are pressing with time and are pressing problems that may be like tomorrow or in the upcoming future, soonish. They're issues that automatically jump to the top of your priority list, and usually things that happen right in front of you and you have to deal with at any given moment. It's not unusual for people to get a bit lost in this sector and end up stuck there because problems just seem to appear one after the other. This is the quadrant that we need to carefully manage and plan our time around. Quadrant 3, urgent and not important. These are the ones that you need to start saying no to. Things that appear urgent but are not actually important, pretty much a waste of our time. You find a lot of people lingering in tasks in quadrant 3. And usually the root cause of that is because they don't have defined long-term goals. If you haven't taken the time to work out what your long-term goals are, how can you identify what is important and what is not? Anything that pops up in front of you, you're likely to auto-focus on that thing. I myself have found days looking back in my life where I've spent all day dealing with my inbox. I've stayed in my mail application and I've dealt with people just turning up on my desk and having menial conversations with them. These days, I get to inbox 0, which is an awesome feeling, but I don't actually make any progress towards the things that matter. I manage to essentially lose an entire day dealing with silly things, replying to gentle threads, and not getting anywhere. Quadrant 4, the place of procrastination and not really getting forward. Plenty of endless media scrolling. This is where we have not urgent and not important tasks. This is where a lot of time gets wasted. Now, we need a little bit of this every time for entertainment, but what we don't need is to end up spending most of our day doing tasks that fit into this quadrant. Otherwise, we're really not going to get anywhere. And some might say you're living an irresponsible life if you're stuck in that quadrant, because you'll never reach your maximum contribution you can make to the world. The activities and tasks we all need to prioritize are in quadrant 2. The tasks that are important but not urgent. These are the tasks that move us towards our goals and objectives. The ones that usually take the most time and commitment are the ones that get us to where we want to be in our future selves. Building relationships, physical health, investing time in starting a new business, exploring and learning a new skill. These are the things that don't come up in those urgent quadrants and therefore end up resting down below until we prioritize them ourselves. So the question then is, how do you prioritize quadrant 2 activities? There are many ways to keep you doing what matters. And number 1 at its core is being proactive, and number 2 is start saying no. Stephen Covey's quote is, keep in mind that you are always saying no to something. It's okay to not take on everything. If you spread yourself too thin, you're going to struggle to deliver anything. Define your long-term goals and make sure you are prioritizing working towards them each day. Chris Bailey teaches us in the Productivity Project that we as humans are constantly fighting distraction, from context switching to worrying about social media to those pings that come in on our notifications on our mobile devices. We constantly have to fight against distraction in order to do what matters. Chris, as well as other productivity gurus, recommends something that I've found to be very, very useful and something I pretty much abide by religiously at the moment, and that's setting 3 daily goals. And those 3 daily goals can be what is in that quadrant 2. The things that are not urgent but are important to our future self. That's 3 things that we want to achieve that day. You can either do this the night before or in the morning, but it doesn't matter. You're taking the time to identify what those 3 things are to get you closer to your objectives and your long-term goals. I do this each morning in my favorite application called Todoist. If you're interested in what productivity system I use and the apps that go together to allow me to be productive, please feel free to click the link in the description to a video that pretty much summarizes those apps. Those 3 things can be anything, from spending 30 minutes with my son practicing handwriting, to getting in a 30-kilometer bike ride, to reading 2 chapters of my current book. These goals prepare my mind to factor them in for the given day, and therefore they're likely to be prioritized over everything else. Setting 3 goals each day may be a little bit daunting at first, but don't let that scare you. To give you something in perspective, James Clear in Atomic Habits, he states that if we made 1% progress towards our long-term goals, or perhaps learning a new skill or adopting a new habit, at the end of the year, we're going to be 37 times better at that skill, or 37 times closer to our goal and our long-term objective. I hope this video has provided you some value in thinking about where your activities and tasks lie in the Eisenhower Matrix, and I hope it then motivates you to be able to do something about your everyday tasks to get towards your long-term goals, and perhaps even adopt the 3-day goal mechanism in order to get you closer to where you want to be. Thank you very much for watching. Hope it's been useful. Please like and of course subscribe if it has. Have a great day.